Welcome to this week's episode of Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters, the show where we chart the cinematic legacy of the classic monsters. I'm John Campbell. With me, as always, Brendan Jones.
Help! Police! John, would you please call 911 for me? I'd like to report an assault. This movie assaulted me.
I kind of fumbled my way through the opening because I'm not particularly thrilled to be talking about this movie.
Oh, God, man. Oh, God.
In the pale light, in the pale light of the moon. That's just rolling through my head right now.
Glow, because it rhymes with something when he comes back.
Oh, is that right? I didn't. The pale light is the thing that really keeps running through my head.
In the pale light, in the pale light of the moon glow. This is
Howling.
The Howling 2. Your sister's a werewolf.
By the way, the official title actually is The Howling 2... ... Your sister is a werewolf. There's an ellipses for unknown reasons. Can you do that, by the way? Can you put a colon and then an ellipses? That's not proper.
I love that. Well, the colon's important because otherwise they're letting The Howling 2, the film, know that its sister's a werewolf.
Hey, Howling 2, your sister's a werewolf.
Oh, shit.
I gotta go.
And when I say assaulted by this movie, I know we talk a lot. And at this point, you guys have heard us say, oh, God, this is the worst thing ever. And I will say Frankenstein Island is still a worse film.
And there was another one, too, that was up
Well, The Boy Who Cried Werewolf was also one of our
that's
worst.
in the running. But there was one this season, too, because we had something sandwiched between... Oh, Dawn of the Mummy. Also,
Dawn of the Mummy.
I feel like this is about on par with Dawn of the Mummy. I feel like those two are pretty equal. In their badness.
Though again, I would say there were parts of Dawn of the Mummy that had me laughing. This is just a painful watch. It's 90 minutes that you're the guy. I'm sharing our dirt for the listeners.
Uh-oh.
You're the guy that often will split a movie because you're a busy man.
And I did for this. Also, it just saves me. It's some of these movies drag, and usually the ones that do are the ones I split just so I cannot lose my attention. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to, for the good of the show, if I can watch it in 2 45-minute halves, I tend to be able to sit through it a little bit more.
Right. But this is, I bring that up only to say I never do that.
Right.
I did that here.
Wow.
Because I could not.
No.
Watch any more of it. I stopped it at the halfway mark last night, and then I picked it up this morning.
Yeah.
Dreading watching the other 45 minutes. God damn, this is horrible. You can see me. They can't see me. You can see the bruising on my face.
I can, yeah. This movie.
You can see the swollen eye.
Movie hit you pretty hard there.
It really did.
They massacred my boy.
This movie racked me over and over again.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on an inflatable thing now.
But
I don't know why you would do that.
Here's the thing, Brendan.
Racked.
Save your outrage because we have 6 more Howling movies to watch.
I'm going to say it right now.
Yeah.
This is the worst of them.
I don't think it can be. Come on. You're telling me that we're going to like Howling 8 more than this? It's got to get worse, man. Because eventually we get into, like, at the very least, Christopher Lee is in this movie. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna get to point. We're gonna get to the point though where we don't know a single person in these movies.
I know,
and there won't be anyone worth talking about. And in this movie, it's only Christopher Lee worth talking about. Literally everybody else is terrible.
Well, he is the only actor in this movie, and he does as good as Christopher Lee can do with this. But the thing is,
I mean, he's very sincere.
The movie is so oppressive.
Yeah.
This is elder abuse that they carried out against him. I was embarrassed for him, and I have seen Christopher Lee in so many movies, including later Christopher Lee movies, including comedies where he's a cameo.
Yeah,
I've seen him in some horrible movies, but I'm never embarrassed for him because he's always Christopher Lee. Carries himself.
By the way,
he's
63 years old in this movie.
This is so embarrassing for him.
Oh, well, one of my favorite pieces of trivia, as I think I was telling you, was when Christopher Lee was cast in Gremlins 2. One of the first things he did was apologize to Joe Dante for being in a sequel that just destroyed because the thing I have seen this movie once before. And I remembered bits and pieces, mostly like imagery. Like I definitely remember the beginning of the movie with Christopher Lee just superimposed in front of a star field for some reason. That stuck in my brain. And I do remember some of the werewolves and holy shit, some of Sybil Danning's costumes I definitely remember because they are way fucking out there. But watching this, I thought this just had nothing to do with the first Howling. The fact that it's in any way attempting to,
that this was a direct
I did not remember that. But then also it goes way off the rails and like stuff where you're going like, well, this has nothing to do with any of the werewolf stuff from the first movie.
Oh, this has nothing to do with anything.
No, it doesn't. I mean,
know
it's barely
all
a
of these
werewolf
supernatural.
movie.
Yeah, all these monster movies will adapt. We talk about that a lot. They'll adapt the mythology or lore how they need it to be. But this is literally this is an 8-year-old writing a comic book. Logic. It's like, oh, well, this is a special kind, and this you need titanium, not silver, and you got to. I'm like, what is this bullshit?
Yeah.
What is all this? And she's at one point the female lead's like, just in case, and she has a strand of garlic, and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, can I tell you my favorite piece of trivia from this movie that I think
I'm ready for it.
The kind of filmmaking we're dealing with here is I don't know if you read this. When the werewolf suits arrived on this movie, they were in a crate marked 20th Century Fox Planet of the Apes. The director realized they had sent them monkey suits. And then he called the producer, and basically the producer attitude was like, I don't know what to tell you. You got what you got. It's like, well, these aren't wolf suits. They're ape suits. And it's like, make it work.
Yeah, if you keep reading that bit of trivia, you'll find out that it was actually Christopher Lee trying his best as a pro to make it better.
The line, the process of evolution is reversed.
Yeah. Oh, what the fuck? And again, good try, Chris, but I'm sorry, Sir Christopher.
This movie became noted by one critic for being the only werewolf movie to have the phase man, monkey, wolf. There's a monkey in term for some reason there.
Oh, shit, man. And if you read a lot of the trivia, the backstory, all the behind-the-scenes stuff, a lot of it is the director constantly making excuses, and when you read it, it is a bunch of stuff that went wrong. You know, their locations kept changing, and they ended up with monkey suits and all kinds of stuff. It does sound like a nightmare, but here's something I want to talk about. All that shit comes after a script is written. So I mean, and scripts change on set, but still somehow you can make all the excuses you want. There was never a good movie in there. There was never a good movie before you got monkey suits, before you ended up in Yugoslavia.
Well, hey, man, I think you'll be happy to hear that French filmmaker Philippe Mora will be back to direct Howling 3.
Is that the marsupials?
I think that one might be, because one of the other pieces of trivia is this is the last one to have anything to do with the continuity of the first movie.
Right.
They just, but I do think it's interesting that he then continues to do it. I don't think 3 is marsupials. I think that might be 4.
No, I think 3 is marsupials because maybe I'm wrong.
No, hold on. Well, there's no mention of marsupials in the plot description for 3.
I jumped to that because I know that I think it's Philippe, but Philippe Mora was born in France, but he ended up moving to Australia. So he lived in Australia for a long time, which made me think the marsupials, which I know takes place in Australia, I thought that was his as well, but it looks like it was not.
I don't think so, no. And it's not 4 either. Maybe it's 5 that's marsupials. Jesus, I don't know.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. Well, hey, man. Oh, no, wait. No, you are right. That is 3. And now I see here. Because it was released in foreign countries as the Marsupials Howling 3. Well, the plot description on IMDb just doesn't make that clear, nor does the poster. So, well, we'll get to that movie down the road. In fact,
unfortunately, we'll get to them all.
Yes. There's 8 of these fucking things.
Is that the longest one? No, that won't be the longest one we've done, right?
No, because I think Hammer and Universal had, like the Universal Mummy movies, there were maybe about equivalent.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think any of them went more than 8. So if anything, it's probably a tie.
Yeah, and the
there are
Frankenstein Hammer films, there were 6?
6, and I think there are 7 Dracula ones from Hammer, something like that. Maybe it is the longest one, actually.
Jesus, the Howling. Who knew?
Well, clearly at a certain point they were just slapping the name on whatever they had, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that guy has fur in it. Let's call that the Howling.
Yeah. This is not his only werewolf adjacent movie. He also made 1982.
This is not his only crime.
This is he also directed the 1982 movie The Beast Within, which I think was on our list, and you said you vetoed that one.
Well, it's not a werewolf movie. Werewolf adjacent is probably a good way to put it.
I can say I've never seen it, though I do love the work of Ronnie Cox.
It's not good, but it has a lot of gross in it, like as in it's gross.
Yeah, and also 2 of our previous people here now, because also written by Tom Holland. Spider-Man.
Oh,
no, not Spider-Man.
Wow. Spider-Man wrote this, huh?
Yeah, no. Of course, writer-director Fright Night Tom Holland wrote that movie. And who knows what the script was before it was directed by this guy, though. You know. I mean, that's another thing, too, where I have to assume it had to be better just based on having seen some of Tom Holland's other movies. But this guy's career...
Hang on, audience. You'll find out. You'll hear it here first.
This guy has an interesting career. I have seen some of his other movies. I saw Mad Dog Morgan with Dennis Hopper.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar with it. I never saw it, though.
Wait, did he direct something good? Oh, no, never mind. He directed the 1990s Richard III, but not the Ian McKellen one that I love.
No.
I was like, geez, that'd be a crazy jump.
But I like how frightened you were for a second. Wait a minute.
I was like,
did he direct something good?
He couldn't. The Return of Captain Invincible seems like something you might be familiar with.
That is the one I have seen. It is weird.
Also
but
with
if
Christopher
you want
Lee.
to be, yes, also with Christopher Lee and with my beloved Mr. Arkin, Alan Arkin.
Oh, a treasure.
It is weird.
Yeah.
It is a superhero musical.
I might have to watch this.
Australian. It's like a parody. And one thing I will say is that when you also read behind the scenes stuff on Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf, Philippe Mora's take was always supposed to be satirical. Like, he wanted this to be more of a comedy.
Man, if
it was a studio.
If it had leaned that way, I think I would have enjoyed it more.
If it had leaned that way, they still had to do some recasting because, god damn it, both the leads are awful.
Look,
they're awful.
The second I see Reb Brown's name in anything, my anticipation just hits the floor. Like,
wait,
nope, this is
I thought you were a huge fan of Captain America and Captain America 2, Death Too Soon.
I'm sure as you did as well.
Which is the first time he worked with Sir Christopher Lee.
Yes. I'm sure as you were as well, Brendan. When I was a kid, I watched those because Captain America, doesn't matter, gotta watch it.
Right. You have to.
Yeah, it was just, there weren't a lot of stuff, so I'm like, okay, I'll accept it. It's a Captain America.
I'm watching this thing, and I'm sitting there just, it's surreal to me. I'm like going, oh, so General Miguel and Steve Rogers, Captain America, have teamed up to fight werewolves.
Yeah.
In Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
Oh God!
This guy's
so sorry.
This guy's
folks,
still directing
really
movies
did dive
to
right
this day.
Yes.
He's
this is 1985's The Howling 2. Your Sister's a Werewolf. Let's talk about the poster.
Oh, this poster, man. I mean, right off the bat, you know we're not dealing with something as quality as the original Howling just based on the poster.
They're doing a real weak sort of callback to the original poster.
They've got the fingers
like a lot
coming
of them
through the screen or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, so they have but it's instead of werewolf claws, it's very painted, sharp lady nails.
And honestly,
and then
it looks more like a vampire movie.
Yeah, it does, because what's weird is those claws are raking through the poster, quote unquote, and yet on top of the poster is maybe the face of who's clawing through the poster.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense,
but it's a sexy lady face, which I guess is supposed to be Sybil Danning because she's also wearing the Ray-Ban sunglasses.
And she's got and you read about the reason for the Ray-Ban sunglasses, right?
Yeah, she had conjunctivitis. She had pink eye on set.
I know. I love that. And it's like, what do we do? and he's like, "Put these sunglasses on." That
she goes, "But we're inside," and then he goes, "You're the queen of the werewolves. You can wear whatever the fuck you want."
Oh, by the way, that was the other thing I wanted to bring up, which is the alternate title of this movie. Howling 2, Sturba Werewolf Bitch.
Yes. We discussed last week that was something that you've adopted for your own self.
That's right. Yeah. You can find me at Werewolf Bitch on Twitter. I'm sure somebody
My
has.
pronouns are him, he, him, and Sturba Werewolf Bitch.
Sturba Werewolf Bitch. I mean, in some ways, that would actually be a more accurate, a better title for the movie, I would actually say.
Sure. I mean,
it is about a werewolf bitch named
sister's
Sturba.
A werewolf.
Yeah.
Your sister's a werewolf is actual dialogue in the movie.
They say it twice.
Yeah, but
Your
it is the kind of
werewolf.
subtitle that does seem like it's meant for a comedy or a parody. There's nothing you can. It doesn't instill fear in you at all. You sit there going, "What?"
Yeah, no, it's more eyebrow raising than blood curdling.
Yeah, it's almost like they were starting to do some sort of dumb "your mama" joke.
Yeah, your sister's
your
a werewolf.
Your sister's so much a werewolf.
Hey man, if that took over as a new form of insult comedy, I would love it so much.
Me too.
Yo, man, your sister's a werewolf.
And like you say, this does not suggest werewolf, no matter how it says Howling 2, because there's no fur on that sexy lady face. And it's just fangs.
And honestly, I think that is not misleading, because I don't know that I can really call this a werewolf movie. It kind of is.
Oh, no, it's a werewolf movie.
Sort of.
But we are dealing with unbelievable variations on werewolves, because they literally were going to costume shops and grabbing whatever werewolf mask they could find off the shelf.
It's very clear Rob Bottin has no involvement in this one.
Right. This is as random an assortment of, because they're all variations. Like sometimes it's the one who was supposed to be Marcia from the first movie, or whatever her name was.
And
Karen. She did not come back.
Oh, no. Not, you're talking about the, she wouldn't come back because she was still burned about having her entire body shown.
Yeah,
so what is
Elizabeth Brooks.
Yeah, so this is our new werewolf, Mariana, isn't it?
Something like that. But she's supposed to be that character essentially. But the thing is like when you see her, she'll be around people that have the full on the monkey suits, which actually have some. They've added some fur to them, so they look a lot like Bigfoot from Bigfoot and Wild Boy, the Saturday morning TV show. But they
because they're ape-like.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And they'll have sort of, some of them will have flat werewolf faces, some have snouts, and she will still basically look like herself, only with furry forearms and claws and big fangs in her mouth, and she'll go, "Oh!"
And also, man, whatever topless scene Sybil Danning didn't want to shoot, this woman was more than happy to.
Yes, and they were both willing, along with the male servant lead of the werewolves, who I kept calling Bobo Jimmy Smits.
You and the How Did This Get Made team agreed on his Jimmy Smits appearance, because
and I stole Bobo from them, because that's a thing they always use to refer to people who look close to but aren't a certain
Manzukis
person.
keeps calling him young Jimmy Smits on that episode.
I would say he was definitely Bobo Jimmy Smits.
He does have,
but they were all willing to
quality.
Get naked and then have yak hair glued to them, including Sybil.
For a needless and cut away and cut back to werewolf threesome. What the fuck is this movie?
Werewolf threesome, again, I don't mean to keep putting your secrets out there, but that was the name of your underground band for a long time.
Yeah, right? We only put out a couple EPs, but
you opened for Vampire Weekend.
We did. It was a cute idea from the promoter there to be Vampire Weekend, Werewolf threesome.
Opening for Vampire Weekend.
Yeah. We were not well liked by that band. I'll just say that,
because you were nude with all with yak hair covering your private parts.
Yeah. Well, we were committed to the bit.
You really were. You really were.
We actually shamed Vampire Weekend for not dressing like vampires. The fuck, guys? No vampire costumes?
You ever hear about truth in advertising?
Yeah, I went and saw Vampire Weekend in concert, and I said, "There's nothing scary about this. They didn't drink any blood, even." The fuck, man?
Screaming Jay Hawkins knew how to wear a cape. You guys should take some lessons from that guy.
Actually, they are one of my favorite bands, and I did see them in concert.
Well, they are delightful, and I've never seen them live, but I would.
They're very fun. They put on a very fun show.
These people didn't. So anyway, that's the poster, but you need to talk about the taglines.
Oh my god, the tagline.
It has 1980s 2 taglines.
The rockin', shockin' new wave of horror is how I imagine that should be read.
Shocking new wave of horror.
And then, of course, Howling 2. It's not over yet.
Yeah. Fuck.
What?
I will say that's helpful. I don't think it really has anything to do with the storyline.
Yeah.
It's what everyone's thinking.
Oh god, this isn't over yet.
Yeah, when they're looking at the running time, because I was doing that. I was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, it's not over yet."
There's some other alternate taglines from other releases if you want to hear those.
Oh, bring it. Yes.
Nightmares never die.
Okay.
Twice the terror, twice the torment.
Jesus.
And then finally we have torture, death, and destruction reign supreme in the castle of werewolves. I would see that movie. That tagline would have got me into the theater, and I would have been disappointed.
If
but
the
that
movie had been
sounds
called Castle of Werewolves,
Castle of Werewolves sounds like a badass. And I will say there are a handful of pieces in this movie where I'm going like, most of the Christopher release stuff where I'm like, if you had just latched onto that, you could have made a Hammer type movie with him as werewolf hunter that I would have enjoyed.
Yeah, but that is the thinnest straw that you could possibly grab at. There's nothing in this movie I liked. Nothing. Christopher Lee I love, but I'm embarrassed for him. The only thing in this movie I liked. The only thing.
I kind of like when he was shooting werewolves.
No, because the ADR in that scene was cracking me up. We'll talk about it when we get there. But the only thing I liked in this movie is the werewolves sniffing each other when they met.
That was nice. That was a nice touch.
I just thought that's what they would do, even in human form. They're like, "I'm meeting you for the first time, but we're doing a little sniff." I was like, "Yeah, werewolf, it."
Yeah, I like that.
Only thing I liked.
I like that. I read one review from the time of this release, and it did come from the legendary Roger Ebert.
Roger.
Roger did give the movie 1 star, but did say there were 2 things he thought were good in this movie.
Oh, God.
He certainly did enjoy any time Sybil Danning was on screen, and really spends a lot of time praising her.
Okay. I mean,
no, she's not good. She was never good in anything. Ever. She was not an actress, man.
No, but she's a cult icon. And in the right setting, in a bad cult movie with Sybil Danning, there is some joy to be had here or there because she commits. But this has nothing for her. Even when she's being Queen Sturba werewolf bitch, she's just, just arms up, just saying nonsense, saying some Latin bullshit. It's just, oh, God.
I have to read this section. This is how he ends his review. Please. I have to concede that no one presides over a ritual quite as well as Sybil Danning, especially when she is savagely ripping open the bodice of her dress. She rips the dress so dramatically, in fact, that the shot is repeated during the closing credits, providing the movie with its 2 most interesting moments.
I see what he did there.
Man, you can't write shit like that now. That would be the end of Ebert's career if he wrote that in a review.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, even if he's right, it's like, what could you recommend in this movie?
But the whole thing
you could say, well, that's a lady with an amazing form. She sure does take off her shirt a lot.
But the problem, not the problem, but like the reason that's nothing new, man. I've seen Sybil Danning take her top off in every movie she's been in. So there's no like, whoa. It's more just like, Sybil Danning. It's like countdown as soon as she comes on screen for when she takes her top off.
Is she still alive?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to let you know, and all the people at home know, she's nude right now. Because Sybil Danning is always nude.
I know. I do think. I mean, look, I don't want to belittle anyone or like diminish anyone's career or anything like that.
I just said that she can be very entertaining in certain
But
things.
here's what I will say: is her scoffing at taking her top off in this, and it's kind of like,
I know.
Sybil, you're not. You know what kind of movies you make. You know what your appeal is. Unfortunately, you don't really have acting chops. Like I said, I don't want, but it is sort of like, really? You're gonna scoff
She saw
at that?
this as, as a showcase because she is, quote unquote, the central character and has dialogue and so forth. So she's like, this will be the one where I don't do that. This will be the one where I am acting.
I'm looking at her career. I mean, I've only seen her in a handful of things. Battle Beyond the Stars is a favorite of mine in the B movie genre. And
talk about fun in the right things. She's fun in that.
That movie is a blast. I love Battle Beyond the Stars. By the way, stay tuned.
It is trash, but
it's
great.
Stay tuned over on our fellow network show, Action Shelf, because we are going to be doing Battle Beyond the Stars at some point soon.
Perfect.
I have seen Amazon Women on the Moon, and I have seen the Lou Ferrigno Hercules that she was in. Also a future Action Shelf episode.
You've also seen The Three Musketeers and The Four Musketeers.
Yes, I love those movies, in fact.
She doesn't have a big part in them, but she's in them.
She is in them. Those were childhood favorites of mine because they really are. Those are perfect kids movies, really. I mean, they are.
She has some dialogue in Airport 79, The Concorde, which I watched.
The best
in
one.
The theater.
The best one. Quite good. Oh, here's a picture of her from a movie I've never seen called Operation Thunderbolt. But it's her and Klaus Kinski, and they're both holding firearms, and I now kind of want to see it.
Yep, they just sold you. They just sold you.
Less with Sybil Danning, more with whatever this movie where Klaus Kinski is taken over a plane or something. I'm curious to see how he sinks his teeth into that role.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, come on, man. This movie could have used some Klaus Kinski energy. We could have used any energy.
We've also seen Klaus Kinski without any energy in a Dracula film.
Yeah, I didn't know that was possible.
We saw it.
We saw a totally checked out Klaus Kinski. So, and here we have, I wouldn't say a totally checked out Christopher Lee. I think he is doing his best to play this sincere, but he can only do so much.
Such a pro, just like his pal Peter Cushing, he delivers. But
I'm
he's in
going
something
to play
terrible.
a werewolf hunter, I shall play it seriously.
But good Lord, it's just
well,
every bit of dialogue he has is embarrassing. God
let's jump right. Speaking of that, let's jump right to the beginning of this movie and Christopher Lee against a Starfield background, and I do have what he says at the beginning of the movie here.
Oh, you actually have the dialogue?
I do.
Read it.
For it is written, the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with her blood. And I saw her sent upon a hairy beast, and she held forth a golden chalice full of the filthiness of fornications. And upon her forehead was written, Behold, I am the great mother of harlots and all abominations of the earth.
Yep.
That's
directly from the book of Revelations.
Jesus Christ, man.
That is, you obviously didn't read your Bible, young man. But yeah, it's like, oh, great. The Whore of Babylon, basically, is what we're talking about.
It was a werewolf.
From the book of Revelation.
Didn't know that.
And as you pointed out, and I can't keep thinking about it because it will send me off into another fit of laughter, but it's not even, it is blue screened him standing there like Criswell at the beginning of fucking Plan 9.
It's very Criswell-esque.
He's not in a coffin, but he
my favorite part of it, though, is it's not just him. There's also just randomly a skeleton hanging next to him.
There is a fucking
that has been inserted
medical skeleton standing next to him. Like,
just to add extra spookiness to it? Like, I don't know. It's
God.
It means nothing. It's so weird. It's so funny.
It's like, I guess he's in his study.
Yeah.
But instead they blue screen in a star field.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's like this light blue glow around him. We do a lot of bad video effects in this movie.
Lots of them. Oh my god.
That actually reminded me a lot of the canon film stuff,
Yeah.
especially the Lou Ferrigno Hercules movies that have plenty of the same, like, I'm an evil sorcerer, look at my bad digital lightning. Oh my god.
Do we have digital lightning in this movie?
We have digital lightning. We
ladies and
have
gentlemen,
mystical powers, what you normally associate with werewolves.
Yeah, when they start getting to that stuff, I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Were you at all afraid while you're watching this that at some point your door would bust in and there are government agents there saying, you know, that film is not allowed? I kept being afraid that some kind of taste police would actually swoop in.
Come on, you can't watch this.
They would empty my shelves of all the Blu-rays and DVDs. It's like, you no longer deserve entertainment.
Representatives from the Criterion Collection are here to recoup our products, sir. No,
and we're not here to get some sort of, I don't know, documentary or some sort of a commentary out of you for some disc. No, we're here to take away your license to watch film.
That's it. We're taking these Malik discs. You don't deserve them anymore. No! I need my thin red line.
Kurosawa, at least the Kurosawa.
Oh, you bastards! You get to keep the Michael Bay movies that are in the Criterion. Of which
you can keep the Transformers series.
There are 2 Michael Bay movies in the Criterion Collection.
Armageddon, and what's the other one?
The Rock.
Oh.
Which is my favorite Michael Bay movie.
Actually, I'll go with you on that.
The Rock.
I actually, unironically, enjoy The Rock.
It's really good. It's a solid piece of action filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
So we open at the funeral of Karen White, the protagonist of the first movie.
Yeah, only this is not Dee Wallace Stone.
No.
She decided not to show up to play a corpse.
I can't figure out why. But
and
what I love is this shot of all the people in the pews, and then one gigantic man. Reb Brown is 2 heads taller than everybody in this place.
Yeah. I mean, you can see why, at least physically, and probably from a bit of a distance, that someone said, yeah, he could be a superhero.
Yeah.
He's a big old hunk of meat.
Guy can't fucking act to save his life, but...
No, he cannot.
Oh, my
God.
The
funniest thing in the world, though, is, don't watch this movie. Instantly go find the...
Are you gonna... yeah, I think you're gonna recommend what I was about to as well.
MST3K. Was it Revolution in Space?
Space Mutiny.
Space Rebels? Space Mutiny. That's it. Thank you.
Mutiny is
Reb Brown
one of the
Space
best MST3Ks. It's one of my favorites.
You will hurt from laughing.
And
movie, constant names that they keep coming up. Slab hard cheese.
Because he is just a slab of meat. He is like if you drew a generic action hero, you get Reb Brown. And
really
he
didn't put a lot of details in.
And he has as much charisma as that drawing on a piece of paper.
He is awful.
He's just nothing. Like I said, anytime I see Reb Brown, it's like, Christ. Oh, God.
Yeah, you think, okay, they've sacrificed so they have handsome leading man. They went with someone who can't really act. And then you meet the female lead and you listen to her. And
Annie McEnroe.
She is in Beetlejuice and is very funny.
Oh, yeah, she is. Oh, my God. Okay, she's also in a movie we talk about a lot on... there's 2 movies we talk about a lot, or we did, when we were doing The Green Mile, because they would come up on a few people's IMDb's. And one was Supervan, and the other one is Battle Truck. And she's in Battle Truck with Michael Warriors Beck.
Oh,
Michael Xanadu Beck.
Yep.
Yeah, she's in that. She's in Battle Truck, which must be.
I gotta say that's kind of a step down if you've roller skated with Olivia Newton-John and suddenly you're acting next to Annie McEnroe.
Yeah.
But I think maybe used correctly, like in that, her face and her voice playing an uptight little spinster or something like that, she can be funny because she
shit.
was used well. But you watch this where she's our nominal lead female, she's horrible. And this is one of those scenes where they have like a sex scene between her and
oh my God.
Slab Hard Cheese.
Oh my God.
And I didn't want to see that.
Nope.
I mean, luckily there's no nudity.
Well, it's you see mostly Slab Hard Cheese.
Yeah, but again, I was sitting there going, I can't. And I never look away from a sex scene, but I was like going, I don't want this.
No, you famously stare right at it. You get real close to the screen.
Well, you know who I'm related to. You know, our friend who has checked out all the Hammer films.
Oh, he loved this one, man. Howling 2 was a major improvement.
Hey, projectionists. Hey, I know that you guys have slated Howling 2 to leave the theater after only three days of screening. Hey, if I slip you a 50, could you keep playing it for like another week and just leave it on just automatic?
In fact,
don't even bother selling tickets. It'll just be me.
Just actually go ahead and keep running the closing credits.
Just run the closing credits because I love that song.
Yeah. In the pale, pale light, in the pale, pale light of
Howling.
Howling.
I brought enough popcorn last night.
His favorite actress is in this movie, Sybil Danning.
Oh, good Lord. This man
I'm
loves
just a big Danning head. Big old Danny.
Big Danny. She's my favorite thing of in Young Lady Chatterley too.
Oh my
God. This is okay. Well, we're not there yet. All right, we're at the funeral, and Slab Hard Cheese is acting. He's very sad.
Oh, he's so
because
sad, man.
This is his sister, Dee Wallace Stone, played by another person in a coffin.
Who even cares who it is, you know?
Who even cares? And there's another person there who's a young woman who we find out later worked with her.
Jenny, but was not in the first movie, so somebody. And she but also there is Christopher Lee.
Sir Christopher Lee, be respectful.
He earned that knighthood, man. I think it was because of this movie that the Queen said, "Oh, I just love the Howling too. Your sister is a werewolf." Actually,
your portrayal of Stephen, Brother Disturber, was the most moving depiction of werewolf huntery.
I preferred when it was called Sturber the Werewolf Bitch.
It gives me a titter just saying it. Werewolf, B-word.
If only I could somehow knight Sybil Danning.
Protector of the realm, Sybil Danning.
Okay. So they're putting the werewolf lady from the first movie into the ground.
No, not into the ground, into
not
a
in
crypt.
the ground, into a crypt. You're absolutely right, and I will shut my mouth.
But Christopher Lee comes up and he goes, "By the way, your sister's still alive and she's a werewolf."
Okay, you know you're dealing with basically A-level screenwriting talent when there is no. There's no lead in. There's nothing like, please allow me to introduce myself. Nope. Or anything. He basically just goes, I'm sorry about your sister. I'm also sorry that she was killed without the proper sacraments because she is doomed to come back because your sister was a werewolf. He's just saying this to Red Brown. Red Brown's like, what the fuck?
And he goes, here's my card if you want to talk about it. And his card is, what's his name? Stefan Krosco?
Krosco.
A cult
investigator. I still have my Crossco membership card, by the way, and it's pretty good. You can get like enormous vats of like a Velveeta cheese. It's great.
Also, make sure to visit my warehouse stores. We'll get you wholesale discounts. But
so many frozen corn dogs. That'll feed the family for a month.
Red Brown, you look like you can put away a few corn dogs. His job title is occult investigator, and it is one of those things where I'm just bummed about how bad this movie is because Christopher Lee is an occult investigator. Fuck yeah, I want to watch that movie.
I know, but stop transporting yourself into an alternate dimension where there was some awesome Christopher Lee movie as a werewolf hunter, occult detective.
I want Christopher Lee as some type of John Constantine figure.
You know what I want? I want him to be alive again and doing awesome shit. Unfortunately, he's dead. And I have moved on. You have not.
I can't, man. I'm still not over the loss of Christopher Lee. I don't really.
Actually, I get it. I totally get it.
I don't like living in a world without him, really.
Me either. I mean, he was a treasure.
That's not even a joke. That's true. I wish both he and Cushing had lived forever and just kept making monster movies, because these guys
if
were
I
legends.
could resurrect any actors, it would probably be those two gentlemen and Darren McGavin.
Yeah.
I'd say, come on back, guys. You have more work to do.
And then also, we resurrect. I mean, they'd have to.
And then Lon Chaney Jr. would be like banging at that door, and I'd be like, shut it. Shut it.
Come on.
Shut it.
He never died because his body actually pickled from all the booze.
That's right. He's actually on display at the L.A. County Fair.
Hey, how you doing? I was the Wolf Man.
The amazing pickled.
You have any idea how much booze I had to drink?
Holy shit.
Yeah,
oh, God.
yeah.
I'm enjoying our conversation so much more than the movie.
Oh, same here. Okay, Christopher Lee goes to a new wave rock club. You talk about being embarrassed for this man. When he puts on these visor sunglasses, and you're like, oh, no.
They are put on him. For some reason, a new wave punk gal. And I love the way they call it like a punk club. This is not punk. It's new wave.
It's new wave, which is totally different.
But this young lady puts on this elderly man, and he's only 63, but still, it's Christopher Lee. But puts on these.
You can go to the IMDb and see a picture of him wearing these sunglasses.
Yeah, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's embarrassment.
That's a distinct "what am I doing" Christopher Lee moment. The fuck is this?
And at this new wave club, there's a band on stage that's playing a song you're gonna love, and you'll hear it 12 times.
Dun, dun, dun.
The band is not mentioned in the movie, but their name was Babel.
Yeah,
you see it in the credits, and the song is "Howling."
In the pale, pale light, in the pale, pale light of the moon glow. Yeah.
And
they sound like a lot of new wave bands. They're very B level, like, oh, you're not as good as a lot of the other, you're not.
Well, they are Bobo. They are Bobo Oingo Boingo. It is very hard to say. Bobo Oingo Boingo.
That was exactly the first thing I thought when they came on screen. For a split second, I went, "Is that no? It's not Oingo Boingo." Of course not.
I mean, because the look is also like he looks a little bit like young Danny Elfman.
He does look a little, and he's trying to sing kind of like Danny Elfman.
Their sound is very Oingo Boingo, only not as good.
Oh God, no! I love Oingo Boingo.
Well, plus they don't have a horn section. But
any of these things, they're verging into like Tears for Fears kind of stuff.
Sure.
Too. I mean, it's all take any band from this era basically, and you're like, oh, it's almost like those bands. It sounds close.
And I will give you what you'd said earlier. Yeah. I agree. It's not a terrible song. It is very serviceable.
If this came up on a 80s new wave mix I was listening to, I would be like, oh yeah.
The only thing that's embarrassing, I feel bad for this band, is the fact that this is probably the only hit they ever had, and you can tell they're excited to be in a movie, and they will constantly cut to the lead singer, who's also wearing shades on stage, but every time they get to that part, because he's looking in the camera like, God, this is my shot, and he's like going, howling. Yes, I'm doing the theme song to the movie.
Let's see, I'm looking them up here.
Did they have a long career? I bet they did.
Music, Babel.
I think they broke up immediately.
They were a Norwegian band, I believe?
No.
Hold on. There's a few things called Babel. Let me say that. If you look them up. Let me
see.
Steve Parsons and Babel. Steve Parsons is the lead singer.
Stephen W. Parsons.
Yeah, he was the composer on this song. They put out an entire album for the Howling too.
Nice.
Yeah, I think some of it is his score that you mentioned he also did.
Howling. They actually don't list because in his discography, they don't list Babel at all. They show solo albums, and he was in a band called Sharks and the Baker Gurvitz Army.
Yeah.
He did an album with Ginger Baker. Wow, of Cream. But I mean,
I like that they described as a little known new wave band on Discogs. The film features a sequence in which little known new wave band Babel play their song "The Howling," or just it's "The Howling." Yeah, Howling.
I bet they only put this band together for the movie. That's all.
Yeah,
he wrote the song, and there you go.
Yeah, it's no, yeah. There's not much here about them. So,
but again, you guys will hear it if you watch the movie, which we don't recommend for your own health. But
Lord, no.
You'll hear that song a lot.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, when they played the song, I thought, oh, that's okay. Then about the fourth time they played, I'm like, no, it's actually pretty bad.
Well, yeah, because at that point you are really tired of it.
Yeah, but man, is it stuck in my head? It's still just playing in my head right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
because in the cold light of the moon glow.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna have to look up lyrics on it now.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I have more information. They were put together for this because 3 of the members of Babel were actually from another band called State Project.
Oh, okay.
I don't know them either, but that is... So he basically grabbed some guys from another band, put this band together. And this is
it is.
State Project?
In the pale, pale light, in the pale, pale light of the moon glow, I've got a hunger that's emotional, a hunger that I can't control.
Oh, that's it. Oh, that's pretty
I'm
weak.
I'm alone now in my room again, on the prowl now through your dreams again, howling,
howling,
howling. God.
My favorite part is the way he just goes, like he takes that beat and goes, howling.
Yes. And yes, at various points, we see all the punks, the new wave people in the crowd, including the singer going, oh, like they're doing that.
Yeah.
And for a second, I thought our friend Scott, the basketball star, was going to show up and start doing his wolf dance.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Teen Wolf.
And there are scenes where the makeup in this, they're full body furry. Whereas Scott had the decency to wear, basketball.
Dude, the makeup in Teen Wolf is way better than the makeup in this movie.
Way better than this.
Way better.
All right. So anyway, he's there for some reason. I'm not sure why he's there. Like he knows this is a werewolf hangout, maybe.
I guess.
But there's also a couple of
dig this new wave music.
There's a couple of guys in the club who are kind of asshole-ish, but they're on the prowl. And then we have sexy lady come by, and this is
Marsha A. Hunt as Mariana. I've seen her in something else.
She's all like, you boys want some fun?
Hey, this is not the first time she shared the screen with Mr. Lee. She also is in Dracula AD 1972. I was wondering why she looked familiar to me. Now I know.
Now you know. She is an old friend, apparently.
Is that right?
No, but she obviously
could have been
with Christopher Lee. And I bet she's like, Chris, how you doing?
Now listen to me. I did get you a part, but it unfortunately means you have to show your boobs quite a bit. Are you okay with that?
I just love the idea of him saying boobs. That's just funny to me. Christopher Lee just saying, you will have to show your cans, your tatas. I'm afraid this part will require you to reveal your fun bags.
Yeah.
I know that was all very offensive to some people. I was doing it for humor, and I apologize. I apologize.
Too late,
for
you're canceled.
Using terminology
they canceled
for
you.
Humor.
It's all right. I have a new host now.
Campbell and Rodriguez.
He promised to say nothing offensive. That was it. I just went, well, you talk about monster movies, say nothing offensive. Okay. So, yeah, he's at the Rock Club.
I'll do it.
And so
do we get paid?
Yeah.
No. Great.
Oh, God, no. It's a podcast, man. What the hell? Do we get paid? So she goes, yeah, hey, follow me to this abandoned warehouse. That's where the fun will really begin. And these guys, though, when they get to the warehouse, they cross from fun time, like just kind of sexually, not fun time, / sexually harassing, separate ideas, to they have knives and they're going to really like maybe murder her.
Well, it's definitely rape. Basically, when they get there, they're
or
like, so this is where the
at least rape play, because it almost seems like they're
No,
like,
I think they were. What happened was they were promised the good time. They get there, and she keeps teasing, and she keeps hiding in the shadows.
They start
like, come
getting
over
very
here,
dark,
and it's them going, "Fuck this, man! I thought I was going to get blah blah blah." So I think they're basically going to rape her. They're meant to be awful human beings who deserve.
Oh, it's it's classic horror movie where we start with monsters killing people we want to see get killed.
Yes.
So that you can enjoy this. Except this is so
and I
poorly
did
done.
want to see them killed.
I did, but it's just not. It's not very fun.
No, because this is terrible.
It's not shot well.
It's a terrible film, and whenever you see what is about to attack them, it's always bad. This movie, I know it had limitations. I know its budget was terrible, and I know that he didn't get the stuff he needed. But holy shit, this movie is just close-ups. Whenever it's like they've turned into werewolves, all it is a bunch of close-ups. There aren't even people in those things. It's not even a head. It's literally a bunch of what looks like somebody's hand is up in a werewolf mask, shaking it around. And it'll be a close-up of just some sort of werewolf mask for half a second going, ah, ah. But there's no head in there. There's no actor under it. It's like the Henson people, but without any talent. And actually no articulation. It's just a bunch of masks being jiggled.
Right. No, it's all very.
She has led them into a trap, and there's other werewolf people in this warehouse, and she does the ow, and calls them out, and they start eating these two guys.
One guy though, they don't eat him; they just throw him off the roof of this place.
Oh, right. I also should say it's not just the two guys. They also brought a girl.
Yeah.
I don't know why the girl was like, yeah, let's go to that place.
Yeah.
But because she's the one that sees one of them gets tossed onto the concrete and she screams.
I was going to say, if you're going, I don't know why something happens in this movie, get ready to say that a lot. Because I don't think in any of my notes I've had more, for some reason, somehow, some kind of. Maybe what is that? Like a lot of my notes have question marks and because meanwhile Reb and Jenny, I don't actually remember his name because all my notes just call him Reb, because why wouldn't they? Rex Strongman,
Slab.
Yeah, I call him. I call him
name
Rex
is
Strongman.
Ben.
Yeah, whatever. He's Reb. They go to see Christopher Lee. And he's like, well, the problem was at her autopsy, they removed the silver bullets. And I'm like, that's a new thing. New wrinkle in this. And so now she'll never rest.
Sort of the vampire thing. Don't take the stake out.
Yeah. And he goes, and Reb's like, what are you talking crazy? Werewolves. He's like, no, see, here's the broadcast where from the end of the first movie. But it never aired, they say. Which is interesting.
That's
because it seems like it was live, right? In the movie.
Yeah, for the whole part of that, like at the very beginning, I'm sitting there going, "Wait, she was on TV and turned into a werewolf. How could Reb Brown not know this was a werewolf?" And then they say this whole thing about, it was on tape. It didn't air.
Right. So
we see a bad recreation of it.
Yeah, the makeup doesn't look the same at all. It's and we see it's so bad.
It is the actress we saw in the coffin earlier, so at least she got something more to do.
I love that Reb Brown goes, that tape's a fake.
What's hilarious is
there's some kind of gag.
There are parts where, like in the funeral, it's like he's trying to emote like, "Oh, my sister, what? It's so awful," and she's like, yeah, she was great. I loved her, but and so they're not doing it justice. Then you get to this part, and he's like, it's a fake. Instead of him going, good God, it's my sister. Like, there's no mourning or loss. He's like, stop showing me all this nonsense. You did something in Photoshop there.
Right.
Wouldn't you be offended or really struck with sadness that you're looking at your sister's last moment?
Yeah, bullshit. And I like Jenny
right.
goes, no, it's not fake. I know those people because I work at that news station.
Yeah. I'm explaining what I have to do with all of this.
And then I like
instead of just following you around.
Then Christopher Lee's next move is he goes, "I've snapped a few surveillance photos of this woman, unknown werewolf," and he's got all these surveillance photos of Mariana. And he goes, "The problem with her is she's immune to silver. That's why we're using this titanium."
He actually has some term for what she is, and I actually could not figure it out.
Yeah.
He says something like, "She is a werewolf." I was like, "What did he just say?"
She's immune
But
to silver.
that's his explanation for she's a different kind, and the traditional methods of killing won't work. So titanium is the key.
Right.
Whatever,
right.
man.
Yeah.
What the fuck ever.
So yeah.
Oh, by the way,
bullshit. It doesn't.
Slab bulkhead
Oh, slab bulkhead. Oh, that's great.
or blast hard cheese.
Blast hard. Yes, that does. Yeah, now I do remember.
There's
blast
also fridge large meat.
These are the best. Oh, I did watch that one a few months ago, and it is one of the best ever.
Rip steak face. Crud bone meal. Yeah, someone
Here's the
listed
thing,
all of
though,
them for me, and I love that.
The titanium thing doesn't really matter, though.
Mm-mm.
Like, whatever. It's
I
just,
mean, later
he's
on, when
he's
they
just
do the
using
big
a
assault,
different metal to kill her. Big deal.
I know. And in the final assault, he does go, "These are the weapons we will use."
Yeah.
And then it's all vampire stuff,
Yeah.
Essentially.
And
And
then
then he's
they
like,
just
"And these
shoot
knives,
people, though."
these are titanium knives."
But then they pretty much just shoot people in the final assault.
Well, they're also, I guess, titanium bullets, which
Yeah.
Blast Hard Cheese feels pretty great about using, because apparently it never runs out.
I do like he's got a revolver. I think Lee has a revolver too, and he fires like 18 shots from it. And we never see him reload.
And right here, or maybe later, when Christopher Lee is letting him like arm himself, he just hands him like a handful of like 5 bullets. I'm like, wow, those really lasted, those titanium bullets.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck this movie, John.
And so,
John.
yeah, Christopher Lee goes, "I plan to destroy Sturba, the main werewolf, who's going to rise again on the 10th millennium of her birth," or whatever bullshit.
Okay, yeah, we need to talk about that too. All right, so the werewolf queen Sturba.
Yeah.
This is her 10th millennium.
Yes, 10th millennium.
So, okay. 10,000 years.
Yes.
Old.
Yep.
Pretty impressive.
Not bad.
We find out later, I don't want to spoil anything, that Christopher Lee Stefan, he'll also tell you about all the newest clubs in New York. But
New York's hottest club is Spicy.
We find out that he's her brother.
Yes. Oh, very dumb, in a very dumb manner.
We don't understand, if he's not a werewolf, how did her brother last 10,000 years? And also, has he not been able to kill her for 10,000 years? Seems like you would have.
A healthy diet and lots of exercise is how I did it. A strong heart. I don't know.
Fuck this movie. But he never does a turn. I thought there'd be something later in the movie where he's like going, "The only way I was able to defeat her is I too am a werewolf, only I've learned how to control it," or something.
Mm-hmm.
No. But there is a creepy incest twist at the end.
Yeah, that was weird.
Weird or hot?
Yeah.
Which is going to be the new name of our podcast, John.
Weird or hot with Campbell and Jones. And we'd have to come up with a third thing, which is weirdly hot. Well, also just weird because he's just, an older gentleman, and she's,
Well, she
visually
starts out as a crone, but we're not there yet either.
Oh God, I'm not sure I followed this movie. Can you? Can one follow this movie really? There's stuff that just doesn't make sense.
But it's so shittily put together. Well, until the end, you can follow this movie until the end, and then you're like, "What the loving fuck is this?"
Utter nonsense down the stretch. No question about
that. The last 5 minutes of this movie should be shown to political prisoners.
I think that might violate the Geneva Convention, though. This movie's a war crime.
It is. I had a hard time. That's all I'm saying. I had a hard time.
Yeah, it's tough. So I do like that Reb goes, oh, I'm not going to let him stake my dead sister. I'll kill the son of a bitch.
Yeah. Staking a werewolf. Again, it's like, whatever.
I have to stake her with this silver needle thing.
This titanium.
It looks like a big sewing needle or something that he's got.
It does, or ice pickish.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a dagger. He does have titanium daggers.
Sharon Stone stole the ice pick move from me.
God, don't even, as a joke, don't try to put my mind where he's in Basic Instinct, because I'm getting really grossed out right now.
I just want to catch this killer, but she's so goddamn hot. Hey, man, a more interesting movie. I don't know about better, but a more interesting movie with Christopher Lee in the lead. I'll just say that.
You'll have to help me with this slab squat thrust.
No, because they sneak into the cemetery, of course, and Lee is doing this long prayer before he stakes a werewolf. Weird.
He is very Van Helsing-ish in the fact that he's
very Van Helsing-esque.
He's a very holy man. Like, he's leaning on God to help him with all this.
Do you think Cushing saw this and just went, oh, Christopher?
I would love to think he never saw it, because that relieves him of any shame for his good friend.
Lord, yeah. Well, I just love the idea of like, yes, Peter, I'm going to shoot this new film, The Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf.
I'm sorry, it's called what now?
Your sister is a werewolf.
And did it say that on the title page?
Well, no, it actually said Sturba werewolf bitch, but
I understand why you would. Yes, yeah. I understand why you would take that job.
Peter Cushing passed on this movie, probably. No, thank you. Because it does because Lee is playing the traditional Cushing hammer role in this movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then Reb Brown comes in with his rifle. Is like, get away from my sister.
He is so bad.
But of course, this is all a moot point when Karen wakes up and leaps out of her coffin as a werewolf, and I guess, oh shit, Christopher Lee maybe was right.
Yep.
So then out of nowhere, more werewolves show up, and Reb Brown, as I say many times on this, starts blasting.
Uh-huh.
He shoots probably 20 werewolves in this movie, which once again seems like a movie I would love. People just gunning down werewolves, but it's so poorly shot, the effects are so bad, and it makes no sense that I can't enjoy even just werewolf slaughter. And that takes a lot. It takes a lot to make me not enjoy werewolf slaughter.
He can't even sell action, though.
No, I mean, that's the thing. He's a bad action actor, even. It's not like we always talk about Chuck Norris over in the action shelf, right? The guy can't act worth a damn, but he's good in action scenes, so you kind of forgive it. He's good physically. Reb Brown is bad at doing action, too.
I think what you keep calling him Reb Brown. I think you mean eat punch beef, right? I think you mean touch rust rod.
I mean strong leather couch.
And this movie constantly in places where after they've finished editing, they're like, God, I don't know. It's them standing there silently blowing away people. The ADR in this movie, if you want to talk about Sturba the werewolf bitch having supernatural powers where sometimes we hear her chanting and her mouth isn't moving and we go, okay, maybe we're hearing her thoughts.
Yeah.
I'll accept that. It's not good. I'll accept it.
We also get some Christopher Lee thoughts too.
Well, and we also have just ADR where we clearly see that no mouths are moving because they thought that this action sequence would need something. There is a part in the big assault when they're on the way to the castle, which is a very boring scene where until they do shoot about 18 werewolves, where we see Blast Hard Cheese going at the werewolves, but we hear him say, at one point he says, "Take that, you werewolves!" Literally, I'm not making that up.
Man, somebody wrote that. Somebody got paid to write that line.
but we hear it on the soundtrack.
Take that,
amongst
you
all
werewolves!
The gunfire, and his mouth isn't moving. but it's him.
Kablamo!
And at the end of that scene, when he's finished, and it's just gun smoke, and they've lost a guy, he says, "That'll teach you, you fuzz faces."
I didn't catch that. That's so fucking funny. Take that, you fuzz faces. Ha ha. Ha ha.
And he's not doing it that. I mean, he's not doing like a cool Phil Hartman. It's just like, take that, you fuzz faces.
Yeah. Well, because that's how Red Brown delivers every line.
Yeah, it's not, I am an action guy. It's just like, I told you were going to get it.
Are you saying this
then
movie...
I shot you in the face,
Are you saying this
werewolf?
movie could have used a little bit of Doug McClure energy?
Yeah. You may remember me as Reef Blast Body.
Yeah, Red Brown doesn't... He doesn't even have that fun of your Doug McClures, your Charlton Hestons, your Hammy. He's not Hammy. He's nothing.
No, he's a blank slate.
And this movie could have been more fun with a Hammy actor in the lead.
You know those things when you go to a festival or fair, which is appropriate because we will be going to one in this movie
for a
soon.
long time, too.
But you know those things where it's like the big piece of wood that has a painting of like a sailor and you put your head through it?
Mm-hmm.
That's Red Brown.
That painting is Red Brown. That's what he does now.
That painting is Red Brown.
That's the work he gets now. Jesus Christ. Put your head through me.
Put your head through me.
It's okay. This is what I do. Are you?
This is what I do now. I did see a convention photo of him and Gil Gerard shaking hands.
Oh, hang on.
It was
now Gil Gerard, I love.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I mean, we all love Gil Gerard.
Don't drag Buck Rogers into this.
But I just found it funny. I was like, yeah, that says a lot.
Because you are speaking to the proud owner of the Kino Lorber Blu-ray box set of Buck Rogers.
Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah.
Dun-dun-dun.
Comes with both seasons and the theatrically released movie.
Yeah, well, I don't mean to brag, but I had the original Buck Rogers action figure.
Ooh,
and
that's nice.
ship.
That's nice.
The one that actually fired projectiles
that's
until
nice.
it was taken off the market because
yeah.
children swallowed them and choked.
That was a big problem back then.
Yeah, then they just decided just to make the things non-fireable.
That's what also did in with the Boba Fett figure too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, too bad. I come from the era where they did let stuff fire.
Nice.
Yeah. But Buck Rogers was long gone by then. All I had was reruns on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Whoa. I didn't know we were going to go take a turn for the maudlin because I didn't expect the tears to well up and all of that.
All I had were the reruns. They never got to give a proper ending to Buck Rogers.
Looking at you on this cam and you've got like the filter on it and that sort of soft focus thing as you cry. This is getting embarrassing.
I just love the idea of I had so many unanswered questions about Buck Rogers. I really needed to come to a proper conclusion.
Yeah. Did he make it to the 26th century?
I could only hope.
Did he and Hawk finally, explore their love for each other?
I can only hope once again.
Did Aaron Gray eventually go back into the past to marry me and become my wife?
She ended
I had a
up
huge crush on Aaron Gray.
Well, who didn't, man? I was more
Colonel Wilma Deering.
I mean, between that and Silver Spoons, come on, man.
Just a couple of silver spoons. All right, moving on.
So they kill all the werewolves except one, which Lee catches in a net so he can interrogate him. Christopher Lee interrogating a werewolf. Once again, I'm explaining these things and going, that sounds great, but it's terrible.
Oh, it's terrible.
Because you're like, I should
This
love a
is an
movie
old
with...
man werewolf who was spying on them. I guess he was his day job as a mortal was like caretaking this church or something. But anyway, so they catch him and he's like in the net and he's like, tell me what I want to know where Sturb is. He's like, I can't do it. He goes, then your soul will burn in hell or I can release you from your torment. He's like, do it.
Yeah. He does give her up, though. She's in Transylvania.
She's in Transylvania. And again,
Slash.
I don't know why this became so hard to find Stir, but this all makes perfect sense.
Slash Czechoslovakia, really.
Oh, yeah,
where they
absolutely.
shot this movie.
But I do love that where they have him, Stefan, say she's in the dark country.
The dark country. The dark country.
Transylvania.
That's one of my favorite lines.
Yeah.
A country.
Like, you mean ex-communist bloc country?
The dark country.
Yeah.
A country he's very familiar with, of course, from his years playing Dracula. I know it well. And by that I mean I know the backstages of Hammer.
We've also, I think at this point, aren't we now in Yugoslavia seeing a train pull in, and this is where Mariana shows up and we meet Bobo Jimmy Smits?
Correct. You got that right.
Yay.
Because they're going to go
and they sniff each other.
They sniff each other, and we're going to go to the werewolf castle for a crazy werewolf ceremony. Where they're going to bring back, or they're going to return Sturba to full power.
Yeah, Sturba is at this point an old hag.
Yeah.
Who
would look at her twice?
This was so... Okay, so the werewolves are all they're all white people, by the way, except for Mariana.
Yeah, she was the diversity hire.
They're all in S&M gear, and they're not werewolves, but they're all chanting.
I do love the connection between werewolves and leather in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like, this isn't anything like the cult in the first movie.
You just shut your mouth. This is my favorite part of the movie.
Oh, my God. Because, I mean, different people are covered in different amounts during these sequences.
All I'm saying.
Some have boobs out.
Actually, most of the women have exposed breasts, but it's in this weird... They almost all have, like, S&M harnesses. So it looks like they're wearing, like, maybe a bra, but then their boobs are just out. And you're like, wow, that... I guess that means they're werewolves? I don't know. But anyway, so they're starting the ceremony and chanting shit, and they have, of course, a victim on the slab, and the victim on the slab's a pretty blonde lady, and Bobo Jimmy Smits is leading the thing, and Mariana's watching over it and going, oh, and everyone's chanting. And they, did they pour blood on her, or they do stab her, right? I can't remember.
I think they pour blood on her first.
I think they pour blood on her, and it looks like barbecue sauce. I was literally sitting there going,
Could get some ribs right about now.
Leonard's pulled pork barbecue.
I just like the idea of hang on, I gotta open my DoorDash app here and get some ribs.
Yeah, you just put. Hey Jones, just keep talking.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna order some ribs.
Just gonna order up some ribs. Yeah.
So they're sacrificing this lady, and she seems okay with it, or she's in a trance.
Yeah.
Sturba the hag.
Yeah.
Leans over this lady's face, and then we get TV movie worthy effects.
Even some TV movies sailed past these effects.
Green's vapor comes out of the young woman's mouth into Sturba's mouth. She's sucking her soul out, I guess.
Yeah.
Which restores the hag to Sybil Danning.
Actually, Sybil Danning never did much for me.
Well, I mean, me either, really, but she has an impressive physique.
She does, but I put her in the same camp, and I'm not to be. I mean, look, if you're into these women, I have not here to besmirch you, but she's in the same camp of the '90s, going over the '90s, like the Pamela Andersons and stuff like that. Obviously, she doesn't have the plastic surgery of that. However, it's that same thing where it's very cultivated sex pot kind of image that
I think
really,
also by this point
in a lot of sleazy stuff. I'm not saying they're sleazy, but the projects they did were exploitational, pretty sleazy.
I think she actually came from like Scandinavia or Sweden or something.
She's Austrian.
Oh, Austrian, okay.
Yeah.
But she does have that sort of look, which I will also agree, but everyone's taste is different.
Right.
That kind of thing never worked for me.
Right, same here.
But by this point, she has, as you said, cultivated the look to where, for most of these movies of hers in the 80s, because I remember seeing, God, what is that? If you ever watched, you guys probably should cover some of these on the Action Shelf, some of the Sedaris movies.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like Hard Hunted and stuff like that. And I think Sybil Danning did one of those around this time too.
She did Malibu Express.
Oh, that's it. Yes.
Yeah.
But she had the very 80s big kinked out hair.
Yeah.
And
I think that's
sort of,
part of it too. Is just I'm talking the whole cultivated image
the whole
for sure.
thing is very supposedly 80s hot.
Well, because it's like I said, it's all. I mean, most of the women in those Sedaris movies have that look, and those movies never.
Well, most of them are hugely siliconed. And
yeah, and
that was
they
one
were
thing
mostly
that she had going for
they
her.
were mostly Playboy playmates that they then
Yes.
put in those movies. So those
and
movies,
all very good actors.
but those were not movies where I thought, hey, now it was more just like, oh,
no, yeah,
it adds
exactly.
to those movies were gross. Yeah, I can't
and also,
believe we
there's
haven't
nothing
done.
erotic about them at all. It's just like now we're in the hot tubs talking about we have to stop those drug dealers.
Yeah, you're right. I'm glad you mentioned that because those are perfect action shelf movies.
You need to do at least one of them.
Yeah, we might do Malibu Express. I said we are going to be doing.
One of them has Pat Morita in it.
Ooh, we do love Pat. But I said we will be doing the Lou Ferrigno Hercules that Sybil Danning is in. That's a future episode coming up.
Well, again, you're going to be seeing similar effects to the ones you saw in this.
That's my memory from seeing that as a kid because I was like, oh my God, the Hulk is playing Hercules. This will be good. It wasn't.
So now Sturba, the 10,000-year-old werewolf queen, is back to being hot, in quotes.
Yeah.
But
I go more
for
the other woman, actually.
You mean
Marsha Hunt?
Mariana?
Yeah. I mean, between the two. But she Sturba has the scene where she kind of looks over and is like, not bad. Not bad.
Yeah.
I approve of you as sexy werewolf lady. From one sexy werewolf lady to another, you're doing all right.
Right, because she's sort of the American ambassador.
Yeah.
She has come from U.S., and it would have made sense if had been Elizabeth Brooks, because, she's like,
right.
I have come to represent American werewolves, our werewolf queen.
That would have made Elizabeth Brooks the only person who has anything to do with both of these movies.
Yeah, other than the character of Karen White,
right?
Who got replaced.
The writer of the novels, Gary Bradner, who wrote the first draft of this script.
Yeah,
but apparently then got upset with how much they had changed because he tried to faithfully adapt his novel for the second. Yeah,
he had
Howling.
written a novel sequel, Howling 2,
because he hated the first Howling because he said they changed too much from his book.
In other words, they made it good. But
Oh, but because he wrote. This movie really solidifies The Howling as a classic, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, he had reason to hate this one too because he wrote a sequel novel.
Yeah.
Then he wrote, as you said, he wrote the first screenplay based on his novel for Howling 2. And then they said, we're giving it to this other guy. And then they basically changed everything. And he's like, well, fuck. Yeah. And yet he still gets a credit as based on the novel and you're like, I don't think it is really.
No, and in the trivia, I do like that he was upset that most people felt the movie was an improvement over the book for the first Howling. That pissed him off. That not only did they change stuff, but people seemed to like it more than his book. That was like, fuck you, no, it's not. I've never read the Howling novel, but it probably is.
I love the idea of this guy being sort of... He's totally Rodney Dangerfield. Like, I can't get no respect.
Here I am. I'm writing these great werewolf novels, and nobody respects me.
He is the Rodney Dangerfield of the werewolf literature community. But anyway,
he wrote a third one too, Howling 3: Echoes.
Oh, sweet.
Mm-hmm. Never. I don't think they ever adapted that one.
Howling.
When we get to Howling 4, I think it is. That is a more accurate adaptation of his novel, apparently.
Howling 4, your second cousin's a werewolf?
If they had just kept that going, I would love these movies.
It's always about relatives of werewolves.
Having to go,
oh shit, do I have to get paired up with a werewolf hunter? And we have to go, all right, I'll do it.
Howling 5, your great aunt is a werewolf.
I'll do it, but I won't like it. Okay, all right, let's go do it. Let's take care of this.
Yeah. So I don't know how he felt about Howling 4. If he was like, finally.
I don't know. Let's invite him on the show.
Oh, he's definitely dead.
Oh God, you're just so mean about that shit. You just kill a dude without even bother looking.
We lost Mr. Bradner in 2013.
Let's just hang it up. I don't even want to talk anymore.
We can't get Bradner on the show. That was the whole point of doing this show.
You know what? I'm bringing him back along, Christopher Lee and Darren McGavin. Bringing back Bradner.
We're gonna need more source material to make werewolf movies, so why not Bradner? And we did. I don't know if we talked about this last week, but the idea that Christopher Lee said he only took this movie because he'd never done a werewolf movie, and he's like,
"Yeah, Chris, you could have looked a little harder."
Guess
friend.
I better add that to the resume.
So she's back. She sees the hot lady from America, and I think an orgy breaks out, or at least everyone. It's time for sexy time. This
is the werewolf threesome because she
says they do leave, but I think the rest of them in the room are like, great, we're gonna have sex out here.
Well, because she orders, she's like to the Bobo Jimmy Smiths. She goes, she's like, take her.
Bring my new daughter is what she says. My new daughter.
But he tells her specifically to do her. Now do her or whatever she says.
She does. He's like, oh, I find her most appealing. Now you do her. And so Bobo Jimmy Smith.
It's not that. My notes says tells Guy to do her, but that's not.
And then it's almost the dialogue.
Yeah.
So then they
says,
start
get
having
to fucking.
sex.
No, now
they
get
do start to fucking.
Yeah, and this is where Sybil Danning
Sturba first starts just watching.
Yeah, and tears her shirt. All of the nudity, by the way, completely unnecessary, of course.
Very necessary if you're having werewolf orgies.
Because just it's just the idea that they got her to, and then oh my god, in the end.
Yeah, that was she was like, I will do one bit where I take the shirt, I open my shirt.
Yeah.
She does, and then later on they're like, "Yeah, but we can re-show that 85 times during the credits."
Another great piece of trivia in here is they had it in the credits 5 times, and apparently the producer's like, "Can we put it in more?"
Yeah. but also what I love is that was the producers or the editors calling the director saying, "Hey, it fits with the song, and can we just throw it in a bunch more?" And he laughed.
Yeah.
The director laughed and was like, dude, that's on you. If you want to try it, you go right ahead. And they did. It's 18 or 17 times
17,
they put it in the credits?
17, according to
17 times re-showing her, tearing her shirt open.
It's one of those things where it's like, okay, so you've just given up any pretense that this is a valid movie. Up. This is just pure exploitation at this point. Got it. Okay, great. So Lee and Jenny and Hard Saucerman roll up on the they're driving into Transylvania when they see oh dear God, a woman's been struck in the middle of the road.
Holy Jesus.
And of course Christopher Lee's like, that's no woman, it's a werewolf ploy, and stakes her, because that's what you do with werewolves.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
That's no woman.
It's so werewolf. Obvious, and the shooting of this is so bad.
Yeah.
So they get out, and they actually there's this crowd standing around the woman in the road. They're obviously all in on it. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
One thing, they're all not doing anything.
Right.
They're locals, and the woman is lying in the middle of the road, and they just stand there around her, not helping. That would be a red flag.
Yeah.
Then nice American lady, our terrible leading actress, goes up, is like, oh, you poor dear, what's that, are you trying to say something? And the woman laying in the middle of the dirt road is like, blah, blah, blah. And so she leans down. This is taking 10 minutes.
Yep.
And Christopher Lee is looking down going, something's wrong about this. And then
I don't like this.
The people start moving away. They're like, yeah, our job here is done. And then the woman on the ground starts going, ah, like a wolf, and then Christopher Lee stakes this old lady. You're really going, what? Stake her immediately. You know what this is. God damn it. This was so stupid. Sorry, John.
Very bad, very bad. So anyway, that's just a little episodic thing that happens on their way into town.
Yeah. I think they do at one point.
Oh, wait.
The name of the place is, it's something like Balalaika.
It's something like that, yeah.
Which they later on have some cute romantic scene of slab hard cheese and her in bed, and she's got like a translation book, and she goes, and Balalaika means home of the wolves.
Yeah. But the weird scene here is after they stab this woman, Christopher Lee goes, "I'm going to walk into town on my own. You two drive on." What? It really felt to me like he's like, "I'm going to go ahead and leave the movie for a while right now. I'll be back later."
He basically says, "I'm going to head off on my own to check out the gypsy camp," I think is literally what they're saying, or something like that. He's like, "You guys go get a room."
Yeah.
And they do.
Well,
and they have sex there.
Before they do that, though, they drive on without him, and there's just a werewolf that pops up on the back seat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. There's just a werewolf in the back seat.
And Muscle Totterman shoots it, and it's just casually done.
Yes.
And then the scene just goes on. It's like, bang, all right, on to the next thing.
I think you mean Rip Steakface shoots him, but that's okay.
So I always forget his name.
Stump Chunkman. But yeah, I mean that is what the way this movie works. It's just sort of like just randomly. I mean, I guess he snuck in the back seat, but he goes and by the way, guys, broad daylight. These werewolves we can turn into werewolves whenever we want.
Yeah.
And he goes and he shoots him.
Yeah,
it's like, wow, that was close. Let's go into town and get a room.
So they go. Of course, they go into town and they get a room at the hotel. And what is that room number? Room 666.
Yeah, what's the big deal about that?
And I like. I think it's Jenny or somebody who goes like, "Oh, it doesn't seem like there are 6 floors in this building." There aren't. Once again, I like the skeleton at the beginning. It's like, so this is just general creepiness that the movie feels it needs to add. Just general like.
Well, and then they open the door, and then there's David S. Pumpkins.
David S. Pumpkins, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he has a backstory and a middle initial now? Is this guy from like a commercial or something? He's his own thing.
And what are the B-boy skeletons about? It's like
part of it. Yeah. Part of it. Yeah. One of the funniest things I've ever seen, really. That is just pure genius. And I love
questions.
I love that Tom Hanks every time he goes, "I still don't really get it, but I'm glad people enjoy it."
It is just one of the best things I've ever seen.
There really is nothing to get. It's just weird.
Yep.
It's just weird comedy, and I love weird comedy. So
yeah.
So they go, and this is where she's unpacking her bags, and she pulls out a big thing of garlic, and she's like, "You never know.
You never know, just in case."
Yeah. But then this is where
they're not.
This is
vampires.
where she's all of a sudden she's like, "Ben, I'm scared," and he wraps her up in his big arms, and he's like, "Don't worry, baby, I'll take care of you." And then it turns into sex, and there was nothing about the relationship previously that felt like it had a sexual component.
Weirdly, she never has a point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's his sister.
Yeah.
She worked with her, but she has nothing to do. So for the whole front of the movie, she just seems to be tagging along with this guy that she's never met before, but she was friends of his sister, the dead werewolf.
One look at Steak Bricklayer's body, and you want a piece.
And it is, like I said, I'm not again, it's personal taste.
Yeah.
This actress, her non-appeal, her terrible voice,
this woman,
bad acting.
This woman makes old Reb look charismatic.
I know, and I'm just not. I
nothing.
was never at any point in this movie going, "God, I hope she gets it on with Reb." When this happened, I was like going, "Ooh, wake me."
They are two people incapable of having charisma or tension or anything with anyone.
Yep,
they're. Literally, when it's just the two of them, I am struggling to stay awake because they are the two most boring people I've ever seen on screen.
She, like I said,
I am begging for Chuck Norris in the movie at this point.
She had a career that has probably that kept
Anne
going,
McEnroe?
Where she's used
Annie McEnroe
well as a particular character type.
She, I will say, I did look here. She's in one of my favorite movies, Manhunter, as the airplane stewardess. But I remember her because it's that scene when he falls asleep with all of the crime scene photos open and people start freaking out.
That everyone sees. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen that movie many times, and I love that
So
movie.
I mean, she does a thing fairly well, but physically and vocally and all that, I'm
Lord,
sitting there
no.
going, "You're a void," and
Oh my
you look
God.
a lot like Dana Carvey as the church lady.
She does.
So
She
I'm
does.
just,
She does. Well, isn't that special?
there is just
Yeah.
no
Who
charisma or
could it
sex appeal
be?
there. But again,
Who
the movie
could-
decided we needed to see them screw, so we see them screw up against a wall.
All this evil. Who could be behind it? Who could it be? Could it be Sturba the werewolf bitch? Oh, the church lady. Oh man, we're old.
Such a big thing. Such a big thing for a while.
Oh God, I'm such a carving nerd.
Oh,
love that guy.
he is brilliant.
Yeah. So let's see. They start getting it on. Oh, and then the townspeople, like they start getting it on, like they can feel the energy of them.
Well,
screwing,
I think
or
it's
the
not
werewolves.
them. What it
Or-
is
it's weird.
as
It's a
we
weird
are
scene.
what we are
in
led
this
to
weird
believe
movie.
is obviously everyone in this town is kind of in on the werewolf thing.
Mhm.
It's a werewolf town, and the Sturba birthday.
It's
celebration,
a werewolf town. We're a werewolf town.
Yeah,
We don't
forget
hide
it,
it.
Jake.
It's
Forget
werewolf.
it, Jake. It's werewolf town.
Oh, I kind of want to see that. And actually, we will see that movie because we have Jack as a werewolf next
we
season.
do.
I'm a
Or just
werewolf. All right.
wolf.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he's a wolf,
but
all right.
What we know is that in addition to Sturba's celebration, it's coinciding with a festival
Yes.
for this is what cracked me up also, a festival for the new full moon.
Mm-hmm.
If you know anything about astronomy,
Yeah.
you know there's no such thing as a new full moon.
There's a new moon.
There
and
are
there's a full
new
moon.
moons, and there are full moons.
They're separate things.
So
yes.
they have made up some jibber jabber for a werewolf movie.
Yeah.
New full moon. Fuck you, movie.
And they say I didn't learn anything from that community college astronomy class I took.
They said I learned nothing at that TED Talk.
Uh,
That greater learnings course I paid $400 for.
so I do like this is where we meet the other guys who are with Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
Yes, all of them have had tragedies befall them and lost people to the werewolves. Don't speak, gentlemen. For the love of God, you get no dialogue. But trust me, they're with us.
They really don't get much.
He's just going, well, that guy lost a sister. He lost a wife.
The only
This
really gets
one,
any
I don't really know what his
dialogue
deal is.
is the little person, the little guy.
Oh, what
He
a
gets some
weird
dialogue.
character he is. And him being a little person is not even part of his weirdness.
Oh no! That we're not. No, it has nothing to do with that.
He is just what a fucking bizarre part of this movie. This character is.
I'm just saying, if you thought starting this movie, oh, this movie should be fun. It's just gonna be Sybil Danning's boobs and some yak hair.
Yeah.
Be prepared
I
because
went
you're
in-
not ready
No.
for a little person walking around 20th century Yugoslavia
Yeah.
with a full-on Morning Star mace kind of thing over his shoulder. That cracked me up when he goes to battle and he's got a medieval
Yeah.
fucking mace over his shoulder that keeps swinging into his
That is-
back while he runs.
That is one of many scenes where I'm like, what's going on here? What is this
What
thing?
is going on? He's dressed as if he's in some medieval
Yeah.
thing. Oh god, and he has a fucking mace.
Did you enjoy the scene where they see a children's puppet show with a werewolf in
Did
it?
I?
And Jenny starts having PTSD flashbacks to werewolves?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That
And
mattered.
what is
That
it?
mattered
Their
in
local-
any way.
Their local friend guide who's like, very amusing, yes? It is the wolf in sheep's clothing. And she's like,
pretty
she's like, yes.
good.
And it's a puppet show for the kids.
Yeah, it's dumb.
You spend a lot of time. I mean, it is they shot on location in a European Yugoslavian town
Yeah.
that has some interesting architecture. If you
Yeah.
want to see that big clock that has the skeleton moving and stuff on it, you'll see that 85 times.
Oh, yeah.
A bunch of paper
Oh,
mache
yeah.
wolf masks that people are wearing and
You
dancing around.
bet.
You're going to see that many.
Oh, you bet.
God damn this movie.
Jesus Christ.
I'm angry again, John. I thought you were gonna make this better for me somehow.
Don't you love the scene where for no
can't.
reason she's sitting in a bathtub and he comes in and scares her and then nothing
Holy
happens?
shit.
Then it cuts away to another scene. That's the entirety of that scene.
Okay.
What is that? That's not that you can't do that in a movie. That's not allowed. I'm sorry. That is breaking the laws of movies.
Oh god. Actually, on the IMDb, they include this under the quotes.
Oh, good.
It says Ben, the character, Jenny is relaxing in bathtub when Ben, enters and stands at the door. He says, "Boo!" Then they write 3-second pause. Then Ben says, "Hi, honey," and she goes, "Hi, Ben." That's the scene.
And then that's the entirety of that scene. What was that? She's not even topless in it. It's not even a gratuitous nude scene, which I would have expected.
No, she's in a bubble bath, and he goes, "Boo," and she goes, But there's this pause.
It's nothing.
"Hi, honey."
He doesn't even then
"Hi,
go.
Ben."
I would expect this scene to start that way, and then for him to drop some info or something like, "Oh, they added a little bit." No, it's nothing.
This is just to
I've
show
never been
how-
more
how they
flabbergasted
have-
by a scene.
Their love is blossoming.
Aren't they
was what
cute?
it was trying to get across.
Aren't they cute? No, they're the two least cute people I've ever seen. Oh, I wanted them both to die.
I know. Unfortunately, guys, we've gone from being pleasantly amused by this movie to the hatred is showing, and we're sorry.
Yeah.
This isn't on you. This isn't on you, the listeners.
So
We just hate.
So they spot the werewolves walking around the festival.
Yeah.
And
they spot Bobo Jimmy Smits and hot American lady.
Right, exactly. And so our hero in quotes and his little person friend go, "Let's follow them back to where they are." So they follow them back to the werewolf castle.
Yes.
And try to infiltrate. I love when the little guy takes down the guard and kills him.
Yes.
And Reb is just like, good tactics there or whatever.
He goes,
good
well, that's a new way to, he says, that's a new way to kill people.
Yeah.
Or something. He says something like that.
Ha ha ha. Ha ha.
Oh, I do need to talk about the guard. All right. So we've talked about the werewolves have interesting fashion.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, it's a medieval castle. So he's standing out in front, shirtless.
Yep.
Got some like leather pants on.
Yeah.
He's holding an assault rifle,
Yeah.
a machine gun.
Yeah, I think it's an Uzi.
Well, someone looked it up. It's actually on IMDb. It's like, I believe that is a Polish blah 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 blah. Anyway,
okay. Well, it's some kind of Uzi type at least.
Yes, but he's wearing a full-on medieval knight helmet.
Yes, the helmet. I started laughing when I saw this guy with the helmet and the machine gun.
Complete with beaver.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's just, I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
And the little person runs up to him stealthily for a little guy, but again, it cracks me up. If you're holding a spiked metal ball on a chain and it's on a piece of wood and you have it over your back, and while you're running that thing is just swinging into your back, I'm like, why isn't he bleeding from the back? That is not how they carried those into battle, over their shoulder. But anyway, he uses that to clonk the dude on the head, and Reb is very impressed.
Oh yeah.
Or I'm sorry, Slab is very impressed.
When you earn the respect,
Slate is very impressed.
When you earn the respect of Tub Speedbag, you're just this is fun.
Yeah.
Because they literally are limitless. I feel like the names for Reb Brown are limitless. They must have come up with 50 more in the writer's room.
I was reading them off.
Yeah.
And I haven't gotten to all of them.
Oh yeah. I'm just
hard peck.
I'm just having fun making it my own.
No, as you should, but now I'm just drawn to them.
So this immediately goes poorly, and they just run away from the werewolves now. They don't fully infiltrate the castle.
All right, here's another thing that pisses me off about it. All right. Stefan has been looking for his sister for 10,000 years. And he never thought, and even when they get to this village, which they had to torture a dying werewolf to find out she's in Transylvania.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Transylvania just wide open. Like, okay, that's a whole fucking country. And they're like, oh, great, we've narrowed it down. But somehow they find exactly Balaclava or whatever the fuck the name of the town is.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It did sound like Balaclava, and I thought, I can't have heard that right.
It's something like that.
Yeah.
But, and then they say this town is the town of wolves. Why? Is Stefan an idiot? Why did it take him 10,000 years to find it? And then once they get to the town, then he's like, we'll break up. I'm going to take my men, and you also do some research, and we'll try and find the castle. Here's the thing about castles. They're not hard to fucking find.
No.
They're on a cliff. They're on a thing. They're on a hill. They're not hidden. So why the fuck, when they got to this town, did they not just turn to the left and go, there it is? Jesus Christ. The recon mission, because when they do come back from this little jaunt, they're like, we found Sturba's castle.
Yeah.
And Stefan goes, excellent work. I'm just like, fuck you all. Anyway,
oh man, this may be the angriest you've ever been on this show.
It just, the stupidity of everything. And I love a shitty movie.
Yeah.
But good God.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad.
Well, yes, they do run away because when they find the place and they sneak in after conking the guard, they apparently weren't ready to see all those werewolves being werewolves and having a big werewolf orgy.
Oh, shit.
And someone sniffing the air like, is there a stranger around? And then they're like, we got to get the fuck out of here.
Now, here's where I stop understanding what's happening. Because at this point...
Here's where you stop. Okay.
Because now we cut back to Sturba doing her some kind of weird incantation and weird energy blasts are coming out of her fingers. And then all of a sudden the little person is being struck by some kind of psychic attack?
Yes.
What is the deal with that? It didn't make sense to me.
Well, did you miss the part where as they were about to make their assault on Werewolf Castle?
Oh my God. Don't pitch me the title for a better movie. Assault on Werewolf Castle sounds amazing.
I know.
That would be my favorite movie.
Little person gives him more titanium bullets or something.
Yeah.
And he also says, and take these earplugs.
Yes, that's
goes,
right.
what?
He does say his earplugs fell out.
Yeah, well,
but what does that matter? From a distance, like they're quite a ways away, and she's able to get him with some kind of sound. I don't know. It's magic.
It's
I
like
guess.
some magical nonsense that
bullshit,
they at least were prepared for. The problem is when they ran and fell, and that takes a lot, by the way, to fall and earplugs fall out. So
those are in there pretty good,
but it is one of the funniest bits in the movie, and they did put that in the IMDb quotes. I laughed at it, and then I saw that someone decided to put it in the IMDb quotes because
I caught it.
When the little person is rolling on the ground, and Reb is trying to help, he goes, "What's wrong?" And he goes,
"Yeah."
Just not a phrase I thought I'd hear in a horror movie.
No.
And they never successfully find the earplugs, so he has fallen to her control.
Which involves his eyes popping in his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
They liked that effect.
Yeah, they shouldn't, because all the prosthetic work is so bad in this movie. It's all... The other thing, too, that I thought was weird about all the prosthetic work, it's bad... And it's also mainly bad because they light it very brightly, which is a bad idea because it really exposes that I'm looking at latex and rubber, not a human face.
Yeah.
That's something Bottin was good about, and Bottin and Dante actively talked about that in that making of documentary.
Use the shadows.
Keep things in darkness. Choose where light hits. It's all very... And that was also the challenge that Landis gave to Rick Baker in American Werewolf is I want to do it in full light, so it needs to be designed from the ground up to function in full bright light.
Yep. Well,
nobody had any thought. I don't think I got to look who the makeup person on this was because I don't think they had much of a career. Terrible makeup.
I hope so.
What was it? Prosthetic illusions or whatever it was on the Hunger.
Oh, right. Yeah, and the Hunger.
Yeah. Jack Bricker with special makeup effects. Jack Bricker.
All due respect, the great Jack Bricker. I'm joking. I have no idea who this is.
No, he did do some work the year before this. He worked in Stan Winston's unit to do the Starman transformation effects in the movie Starman.
But that just means he worked for a really great.
Okay, now I see here. He worked with he's frequently a member of Rick Baker's crew. This is one of the few times he was actually in charge of something.
And also, let's give him his due. It's quite possible they said you have $250.
That is usually the case with bad special effects. It is what I have learned from listening to special effects artists. It is often time and money that they cannot control that leads to corners being cut.
Sometimes great artists are still
It is almost never the incompetence of the effects team that leads to bad effects. It is often you have just not been given the resources you need.
But yeah, this guy would have been kicked off probably the second week of Face Off had he been on there with this quality of work.
Yeah, it seems like he's a good member of the team. He goes on to work with K&B, which is an amazing makeup effects company with Kurtzman.
Yeah. But here we have the little person's eyes pop out, which is also funny because he comes back as an assassin. Would-be assassin.
Oh my god!
On behalf of Sturba.
When he's the assassin and he's got that weird mask. Oh, good lord!
And a completely different voice. That's supposed to sound like a child voice. Yeah. And it is the most. Weird. It's not scary. It is just
weird.
It's terrible.
Also, Jenny is captured during this scene. Whatever.
Yes, right. Jenny gets captured because she was looking for Slab, and she is taken to Werewolf Castle, which they don't know yet.
Yeah. Christopher Lee then does follow the little guy in the mask, and he tries to stab him, but don't worry.
Well, what happens is the little person, because the festival's going on, so there are a lot of people in masks. But so the little person's in a mask and is wearing the little charm necklace, which Christopher Lee recognizes that his little friend or somebody had, or maybe it was her, Jenny, I don't know, somebody's necklace. Whatever, and he goes, man. Where did you get that? And the little person's wearing a mask, so he doesn't know it's his friend or whatever. But it's a different voice, too. It's like, follow me, Stefan. Follow me. And God. He literally, it's like Billy Barty would have been ashamed. Anyway, the little guy runs down the corner, turns, and he's luring him into a building and tries to kill Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee kills him instead, throws him out the window.
No, Christopher Lee doesn't. It's our old pal Match Dry Shave who comes in and hucks him out the window.
Right. Yeah. What was that? Dry Shave?
Match Dry Shave.
That's great.
Yeah. By the way, just know, listeners, whenever I'm talking about anything else in my head, I'm coming up with the next Reb Brown name.
There you go. So
I'm a multitasker.
Clutch Stunt Dummy throws the little person out the window onto some spikes.
That's a good look. I do like. It's not enough to just throw him out the window. He has to be impaled, of course, too.
And then we do hear him go, that was my Sturba turned him what did he say? Turned him and then sent his effigy after me.
Yeah.
I was like, sent his effigy? What the fuck is this terminology? It's bullshit.
Yeah, Christopher Lee's just saying what's on the page at this point.
He's saying what's on the page.
Sure, I'll say that shit. Who cares?
All right, so basically this is it. We know that Jenny's been abducted.
He bitched about those Dracula movies, but they all look much better in comparison to this movie.
Holy shit, any of those scripts, any of them.
I'll take any Hammer movie over this piece of shit. Really, even the worst,
any day.
Even the bad ones down the stretch are infinitely better than this horrible garbage.
Here's the thing. We have watched a lot of bad movies on this podcast, and generally speaking, we have a high tolerance for bad movies because they can be often very fun. This one, I did laugh a couple of times, as I said, but no, I was hating it all the way.
No, I'll say the first seasons of this show were actually the easiest because even the lowest of lows from both Universal and Hammer aren't as bad as now that we're just loose in the world of independent stuff. And there was nothing as bad as this or Frankenstein Island or Dawn of the Mummy or Boy Who Cried Werewolf. Even the worst Hammer and Universal movies were more watchable than any of these.
Word.
Yeah.
Basically, as I'm watching this, all I could think in my head was, Where have you gone, Ford and Foran?
Yeah, all of a sudden, Ford and Foran are looking a lot better to me. I was watching
Where
something
have
the
you
other
gone, Lon Chaney Jr.? Because anything
Man, I
would have
miss
been better.
Lon Chaney Jr. at this
I
point.
do.
I really do miss him. There was something reliable about his bad acting, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I was watching something the other day, and Dick Foran was in it, and I was like, holy shit!
He did have a career.
He did, but it's just one of those
Amazing.
things where, aside from that Mummy movie, I never think about him, and then I was watching something, and he was like a supporting character. I was like, oh my god, it's Foran! Where's Ford?
Whoa. I don't ever want to hear you say, I never think about him.
I
Because
said,
to me, a
aside
day
from
without
that Mummy
thinking
movie,
of
I
Dick
still...
Foran.
I do think, but the problem, I was confused because Ford wasn't there. So if it's not Ford and Foran,
Right.
It just didn't seem right to me.
I call my girlfriend Poopsie. Where's my little Poopsie?
I do like that we have made a comedy team out of guys who starred in one movie together.
Oh, they starred in 2 movies together.
They're never in the other one together, but they are both in that sequel.
They are both in it, aged up.
One of the weirdest sequels I've seen, where the movie came out like a year later, but for some reason it's 20 years later in story.
And the thing I love about it is it has the guts to go dark.
Yeah,
it does not end happily
kills
for our
both
old
of the
heroes.
main characters from the previous movie.
So
weird,
badass.
Choice. Weird choice. Yeah, actually, a rare, bold choice from Universal in a Mummy picture. All right, Jesus Christ, let's get through this thing.
We're almost done. They know she's been abducted, so they're going to do an assault on Werewolf Castle.
This is the assault on Werewolf Castle, and this is where they're gearing up. And he goes, "Well, we've got holy water and this and that," and I do. I do like Tug Jobberman here. That one was off the cuff. I hadn't prepared.
And that is your fucking porn name right there, Tug Jobberman.
He's going, "Don't you have any more conventional weapons?" And he's like, "Oh, sure. Here's a rifle, dumbass."
Yeah, the thing that would cracked me about this scene is he's acting while Christopher Lee is laying out all the supernaturally fighty things.
Titanium steaks and holy water and blessed somethings, you know.
Yeah, there's this one thing. The sound was not good. I was like, what was that? It's some liquid, and he says it's like holy water or something. But I was like, what is it? It's red. I have no idea. Anyway,
I do like in one of the quotes on here, it just has a note that it says unintelligible.
Yes.
Because that's how bad the sound in this movie is. What?
Yeah.
Even the people writing the quotes were like, yeah, I didn't get the full thing.
Well, that was a quote from the little person who has a thick accent. Yeah. And so the user here on IMDb wrote down...
Did his best.
The quote, breasts, that's the fuck, define slipper.
Yeah, that's
and then unintelligible.
Yeah, that's probably not even what he said. That sounds crazy.
But while he's, of course, it's not what he said. breast, defined slipper. But while he's doing all that, Reb is acting like he's standing there acting as if that old man's crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, dude,
holy water.
You've seen all this stuff with your own eyes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he's like, do you have anything that's more conventional? And he's like, okay, fine. Here's a fucking rifle. You happy now?
Ugh. Oh, man. So they gear up. They go to... I couldn't figure... So we have this werewolf orgy happening, but we're also showing the band Babel again, but they seem to still be in that club from the beginning, and I can't... Are these cross-cutting, or are we meant to think they're at this place playing a show?
It makes it look like they are the official werewolf band.
Because the werewolves are
come
reacting...
all the way out to Transylvania.
The werewolves seem to be reacting to the band, but the band is clearly still in that club from the beginning of the movie because it's the same footage.
What's your point?
That this is a lazy movie.
What's your point?
That was my point.
And your point being?
Much like this movie, I have no point. Yeah. Oh God. Okay. So our heroes run in And they just start.
They go up to they go up the mountain, and it's Stefan, aka Sir Christopher Lee, and Tank Gravel Machine. That was me trying. Tank Gravel Machine. And then it's Christopher Lee's cannon fodder, his friends, and they are literally middle-aged old dudes.
They all go down instantly.
They're not instantly. They get picked off. Like, this is a long scene. As they go up the mountain, there'll be little werewolf attacks. They hold them off, and one of them will get killed or seriously wounded. They go a little bit longer, another attack.
Yeah, but it all has to come down to Christopher Lee and Rack Mud Truck, you know?
Yeah. And at this point, this is where we're getting those ADR things I was saying, like, take that, fuzz face.
Yeah, that's in here. Can I say my favorite werewolf here is the one who comes out of the ground to grab a guy?
Yes.
What? That guy buried himself?
Here's why I love that one. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to go deal with the werewolf queen.
Yeah.
We should probably hold on to the big guns till we get there. She's going to be the hardest.
Yeah.
Or you use the big guns when you're surrounded by 20 of them, which they are at one point.
I want to talk about what weapon he uses here exactly, though.
Yes. At this point, it is one werewolf that pops up out of a ditch and pulls one of the guys down. And Christopher Lee is like, he pulls the pin on the holy hand grenade.
It's a vial of holy water, right?
This is that red stuff I was talking about. The vial of, and when he tosses that thing, that is not holy water on a vampire going, it explodes.
My note just says holy water grenade ?
Yeah.
It seems to be that it goes up. This big fireball erupts.
Big red fireball that goes on for a while. And you're like going, hey, Stefan, did you just use the biggest weapon you have on one fucking werewolf that popped up out of a ditch?
I also just love the idea of a werewolf laying in a ditch going like, hey, I'm going to get him when they
come.
run. Oh, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. Oh.
He's like, oh boy, this is my turn. The other 20 guys had their shot.
See, they were dumb. They ran right at him, got shot. Me, I'm going to play stealth.
Oh, God, I hate it. I'm still hating.
So inside the castle, Bobo Jimmy Smith starts wolfing out, and Mariana's like, you need to control yourself right now, okay?
Well, here's the thing. All right, Jenny, the lead actress we can't stand, has been chained up. They smeared blood on her for some reason. She's going to be a sacrifice of some kind.
Yeah, lathered her up with that BBQ sauce, baby.
We never get an explanation for why Bobo Jimmy Smith is suddenly losing control.
And also why it's important that he not be a werewolf. Like, what does it matter?
They're like, go down there and take care of whatever. Take care of Jenny. So Mariana and Bobo Jimmy Smiths are going down that staircase, and the whole way, Bobo Jimmy Smiths has to, as an actor, sit there going,
she's like pinning him against the wall and going, God damn it, control yourself.
Yeah, control yourself, pull it back. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Why? What's causing this?
What is this?
God, this movie.
I mean, that was my main reaction throughout most of the movie was, what is this? What is this now?
That was she opened her shirt.
Yeah.
That concerned me because I thought that you were not aware what breasts were.
Brendan, I need help with female anatomy. Can you help me?
What is this?
What?
Well, John.
What is that? Why?
There are... Biologically, some people are born with...
Oh, God. So, we do have the one friend of Christopher Lee's left who's this priest-looking guy.
Yeah.
And his big thing, he's going to sneak up on Sturba.
Yeah.
He's, like, creeping up behind her. And then she turns around and she has some sort of bat creature that stands on a staff she's holding.
Her staff that she has... a lot of her part in this movie has just been... she's been wearing a knockoff of the Kryptonian villain's costume for most of this movie.
Ebert calls it a Flash Gordon costume in his review.
It's also very Flash Gordon. And she has this magic staff that is topped by a floppy rubber bat mummy thing.
Yeah, very convincing.
It is not a live thing,
Mhm.
but whenever she moves that staff, it wobbles because it's clearly made of rubber.
Oh yeah.
But in this thing, she's being attacked. So she sends. Apparently, the thing can come to life because it leaps off the
does
staff
here.
as a puppet.
Yeah.
It smacks into the old priest's face, and it shoves its tongue thing down his throat.
I guess.
And it becomes a latex fake of the guy's head, and it's blood's pouring out of his eyes and out of his mouth.
This is the prosthetic head that looks like utter garbage.
Oh, as opposed to the others. Yeah, this is the one.
This is because once again, the light on it is so bright, and you can just see,
Yep.
like, that is not human.
And again, you have a puppet much worse than the one in Fright Night,
just
sort of wobbling on top of this, and it's just like, I'm attacking.
Hey man,
like,
I take back everything.
Guy off camera.
I take back everything I said about that puppet in Fright Night.
Yes, just jostling this thing, and that's the attack.
Yeah. Oh god, it's bad.
This is terrible, and it's only made slightly. No, it's not even made better. But later on, we see the dead body of the priest, and the bat thing then grows out of his mouth. Yeah. And you're like, what is the point of that?
I don't know. Nothing comes of it. It's pretty bad.
Oh, god damn it.
So finally let's see.
John, this movie defeated me. It defeated me, man.
Jenny gets rescued, obviously. Mariana gets stabbed.
Yeah.
And finally Christopher Lee confronts.
And she really does a death scene, though.
Oh,
she's like,
God,
this
she makes
is
a meal
my
out
chance.
Of it. She makes a meal out of it. Christopher Lee finally confronts Sturba.
All right.
She casts some kind of spell so that now he's outlined in a terribly animated orange energy bubble.
Yes, the energy effects are all outliney and awful, glowing effects.
I wanted some of those sound effects, like that's what I wanted from it.
I think there's synth or something going on during this.
There might be, but it doesn't announce itself the way I would want it to.
She has him in her spell, kind of, and she goes, brother, after all these centuries, you're mine, and you cannot deny you always wanted me. Okay, this is getting really creepy. And as if to underscore, like, she really is his sister, they do a quick flash where she's the hag again.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
And then back to her being Sybil Danning. And then, and he comes forward and he's like going, no, you will burn as you were meant to in eternal torment forever. And I'm like, sure. They hug. He stabs her with the titanium thing.
Yeah.
They're encircled with magical fire.
Yeah. And then they both just go up in flames.
Yep. They die together.
Yeah. And she even says that we will die together then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
And this is where
They're
I'm going
done.
like, I don't follow any of what just happened, but all right.
But I know you were also, I will say that it was hard for you to follow that because once the werewolf bitch is gone,
yeah,
you were kind of in a mourning period there.
Yeah, I'm like, man, what is this movie even at this point now?
So what happens to the werewolves?
The
others, do they get handled or
no? I don't think
basically so. Slab and Ginny escape.
Yeah, and we come back to them in their idyllic life in their apartment together back in the States.
Hold on, before we get there.
Oh, okay.
You forget another great quote. They escape the castle.
How dare I?
Well, I know. They're in the little village or something.
Yeah.
And he holds a gun on some innocent person and goes, "Where's the nearest town?"
Yeah.
And the guy points and he goes, "Thank you."
Another amazing sequence. Another totally necessary inclusion in this movie.
Then we're back in LA.
Yeah.
And now they're happy. And what's more, it's Halloween, everybody.
Yeah. Ooh, the Night of the Ghouls.
Ginny and Brick
Devil's
are very
Night.
happy together. And in fact, they're having so much fun.
Oh, so much
that
fun.
there's a ding dong at the door.
Yes.
And they're like, we've got trick-or-treaters. And let's go. And they're not in costumes, by the way.
No.
But she jumps on his back.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is how we're going to answer the door because we're a lovey couple.
If only I can find a love like these two have.
And what's weird is when they open the door, happy that there's a trick-or-treater, there's a kid on the other side of the door in a werewolf mask.
Yes.
This is one thing where it doesn't look like a store-bought werewolf mask.
No.
It looks like the makeup department made one,
Yeah.
but didn't bother to glue it to his mouth. So that's the only thing that makes it look very fake, because the mouth doesn't move.
But isn't it supposed to look maybe fake?
It's supposed to look maybe fake, but maybe real. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And they're taken aback, or Ginny is like, oh God, a werewolf. But he goes, trick or treat. And they're like, here's some candy for you. And he's like, okay, bye.
Yeah. And he does like a, like a kind of a howl.
Yeah, he does a dumb little kid howl.
Oh, it's bad.
And then the two of them close the door, but they're like, wait a minute. And this is what I love, is like, they were excited about trick-or-treaters, but then they're like, wait, where did that kid come from?
Yeah.
How did he get in the building?
Wait a minute. What trick-or-treaters were they looking for?
I know. Well, like, plus, why would they be? They were prepared. They had candy for trick-or-treaters.
Right.
Now they're like, wait a minute, how did trick-or-treaters get in here? And then they're like, oh, well, then they go, oh, you know what? I bet he lives next door, even though they saw the kid go down the stairs. I bet he lives next door because I think that apartment that was empty has been rented out while we were in Europe.
Right.
I'm trying to get us to the end. All right. So they're like, well, okay, maybe we have neighbors now. Let's go introduce ourselves. Right. So they do open the door and go across the hall, knock on the door, and then a middle-aged priest.
the weirdest choice. Yes, and he does have a kind of these accent. Yes. Your kid was over here. A child? I have no child, and I'm single. 'Cause priest.
He actually never says 'cause priest. He just goes,
doesn't, but yeah.
I live alone, and I have no children. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
And oh, okay. And then he goes, but I hope you will come and visit me soon. And they go, yeah, we sure will. We'll make a point of doing that.
And then they run off camera after he closes the door. And then, in the pale, pale light, the
running off camera is also, he goes like, something like, get your bags or something.
Yeah.
Like they're going to move.
That's right. Get your bags right off. And then, in the pale, pale light, the pale, pale light of the moon glow.
Oh, God. And then the credits roll with the song.
Howling.
The credits are a greatest hits of the movie
because
where we
the movie's
see transformation
so
scenes,
good.
all which are shit.
The movie was so good, we need to re-see chunks of it.
And it is punctuated by multiple
howling
rehashings of Sybil Danning tearing her shirt
off. Best part of the movie, according to Roger Ebert, or as Roger said, the best two parts. Roger was kind of a, we've talked about
Oh,
this.
no, he was a perv. He was a total perv.
Full on. I mean, the fact that he was good close friends with Russ Myers should tell us everything.
And wrote Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
The cinematic classic. It's one of my favorite parts of... by the way, if people haven't seen it, I can't recommend enough the documentary.
Life Itself.
Brilliant documentary. But Scorsese talking about Beyond the Valley of the Dolls goes, now there's a title. There's a title. Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
I admit that's actually a pretty cool title.
Yeah. I just
the movie itself, that is one of those... I will say this. I hate Russ Meyer stuff.
Yeah.
If you do any kind of love of cult film, you'll end up running into his stuff. Maybe you'll see something.
You gotta
That's the only one to watch.
It
is fun.
You know,
it's trashy fun.
Yeah. Well, that's
there's
the thing.
Weird comedy in it, and lots of.
It's one of those things where
bosom.
I do remember a lot of people being like, "Well, how can Ebert talk about movies? He wrote Beyond the Valley of the Dolls." Like,
he always owned it.
But I also think he knew what he was writing. He didn't think he was out to write the great cinematic classic. He knew that was schlock. And it wasn't like he was seriously trying a screenwriting career either. It's sort of like he dabbled for a second there.
He did.
Yeah, I don't think that was a goal of his. Anyway,
John, we made it through.
In
and
the pale, pale
it did.
light.
It hurt.
Yeah.
It did.
This is a terrible movie. And there are 6 more of these bad boys to go, so,
They are bad boys. They should be punished.
Bad boy Howling. Bad. Not the Howling. Great.
We are going to swat these films on the nose with a rolled up newspaper.
Mm-hmm. I will say we luckily never have to do 2 Howlings in a row.
That is the best news.
Something is always sandwiched between them. At least one movie is sandwiched between them.
Speaking of sandwich, I am hungry.
Yeah, we do have. It's going to be a little while before we get to Howling 3. Luckily, we have a few movies to do. But next week, more werewolves, Brendan.
Oh,
that's right. We'll be watching Stephen King's Silver Bullet,
based on Cycle the Werewolf.
Mm-hmm. I remember enjoying this as a kid, but have not seen it since.
Yeah, it has been a long time for me.
One thing I will guarantee, a great dirtbag Gary Busey performance, I remember.
But it's going to be so much better than this.
Oh, watching this, we just did Silver Bullet a huge favor watching this, I feel
We did. It is going to be a masterwork compared to this.
Absolutely. I'm actually really looking forward to revisiting Silver Bullet.
I don't know why they called it Silver Bullet when it should have been Titanium Knife, but I look forward to...
Christopher Lee goes, no, don't you understand? They're immune!
Oh, poor
Titanium!
We have some Gary Busey ahead of us, so that's always good. So
Busey always a welcome presence on this show.
Yes, indeed.
But that is going to do it for this week's episode of Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters. Don't watch this movie. Please, for the love of God, don't watch this movie.
No. God, no. And if you do not blame us. We have warned you.
All right. But that's going to do it for this week's episode. I'm John Campbell.
I'm Brendan Jones.
And remember, there are such things as werewolf bitches.
Howling.
I poop candy.